Old 7 Mile Bridge rail to road conversion. We're going to be exploring some really neat opportunities here in Marathon. And we're kicking things off on the 7 Mile Bridge, otherwise known as Old 7. Look at how large this bridge is. If you've never seen it before, this is a must-do when you come to the Florida Keys. Crossing the shimmering waters south of Vacay Key is the 7 Mile Bridge, which is one of the longest segmental bridges in the world. The old 7 Mile Bridge that runs parallel to the modern span, as you can see over there, was the jewel of the Florida Keys Oversea Railroad. It was completed in 1912, and the track stretched from mainland Florida throughout the Keys. When you're in Marathon, environmental attractions will provide you with so many opportunities. You can swim with dolphins, you can meet sea turtles, you can explore hardwood hammocks and rainforests, you can stroll along the beautiful sandy beaches and enjoy an abundance of water sports. Now, world-class sport fishing can be found offshore at the reef and on the flats, along the bridges and in nearby Everglades National Park. Challenging the mighty tarpon, like you saw me try and do at Robbie's, or Silver King of the Keys near the bridges of Marathon is a test of strength, endurance, and boating skill. Speaking of skill, I do some wakeboarding today, so make sure you stay with us. You're not going to want to miss it coming up on Morning Live. Pigeon Key is one of the Florida Keys' most historically significant locations. I am being joined by Chris right now. What you're looking at was Old 7 Mile Bridge, otherwise known as Old 7. I've learned that.
Absolutely.
And this is such a historical site. Just driving around and checking out some of the museum, you've got some really cool artifacts here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a unique location that you can step back in time on this little 5-acre island that served as the main work camp for Flagler's 400 men that built the railway up and down the Florida Keys. So it's a pretty unique spot where you can literally come out here, spend the day on the island, surrounded by the water, have a private island, and step back in time.
It's really cool. It's not just the railroad workers that have lived here, though. So after the railroad was completed, railroad is a hard word to say over and over again. After the railroad was completed, a series of families would move in here.
We've had caretakers over the years. University of Miami was out here for quite some time. We were a civilian submarine training hunting ground for quite some time out here. A lot of unique history.
Fishing camp.
Fishing camps, exactly. There was, a school out here that school kids would actually come out to the island, do their education, then walk back to Marathon down that 2-mile stretch of bridge right there.
Now, I saw on the wall that there was a schoolhouse here in like 1926 with like 7 or 8 kids, and it's just because their families were doing various jobs on the island.
On the island, exactly.
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
As a tourist, or as even a local, because sometimes you need to be a tourist in your own city, why should people come here to check it out?
Yeah, so we get locals and tourists alike that have driven past this island, for weeks and years and months all together, and a lot of them have never been out here to this little island, and they didn't even realize this was at their disposal right there in their backyard.
Right.
So it's a really cool spot to get, the true Florida Keys history. Not what you're seeing when you're driving down the bridge, but the old actual history of the Florida Keys, starting way back with Henry Morrison Flagler.
That is incredible. How many buildings like this do you have restored on the property?
Yeah, so there's 11 historic buildings out here on the island.
Okay.
And they're all, when you look at them, this is what they look like way back when, from anywhere from 1908 to 1912.
Wow.
A lot of the wood you see is original Dade County pine, all the same structure. They really built them to last back then.
I guess, because, we've had some pretty strong winds through these islands.
Winds and hurricanes and floods and everything else, and, all this stands the test of time.
That is so cool. I mean, where did you find all of the pictures and history and articles and, it's been so well preserved.
So some of it actually washes up here. If you look at a lot of these old artifacts, especially the bottles, the workers that lived out here, they had to keep a clean island, meaning they got rid of that trash.
Yeah.
So a lot of it went in the sea. So a lot of it floats back still to this day. But a lot of the old artifacts and the photos have all been donated over the years through different benefactors, different families. We give tours out here every single day, 4 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
So it's pretty neat. Some of those families that come out, they take the tour. At the end of it, they're like, here, we'd like to donate this. Turns out my great-grandfather used to live out here, or was a bridge foreman, or along those lines.
Or my kid went to this, or my kid's 18th, child went to this school over here on this part and lived here.
Yeah.
Remarkable. This is the guy that started it all.
That's
right?
him, the man, the myth, the legend, Henry Morrison Flagler.
Wow.
They probably should have renamed Florida Flagler if they could have.
Yeah,
he was
why
that
didn't they?
influential for the state there.
If it happens, we're going to coin you for that. All right, well, coming up, thanks, Chris, for having
Absolutely.
us. This has
Thanks
been
for coming out today.
an amazing experience.
Yep.
Coming up, I do a little bit of wakeboarding, and I think a lot of you are going to be surprised on how well I did. Or not. There's lots more coming up on Morning Live. Adventure lovers, rejoice. We are at Keys Cable Park, the lagoon on Grassy Key, here with owner and developer Matt Sexton in your best Coles Notes version. How did this amazing place come to be?
So we've had the lagoon on Grassy Key for 12 years, and I would like to call it an island-style marketplace. So you can come here, we're at Tropical Strip Mall. We've got Keys Cable Park was our first attraction. So think of it like a surf company in a place with no waves.
Okay.
You can wakeboard, you can learn how to ride a surfboard, wake surf, foil board, kite surf. But over the past decade, we've turned it into a full-service facility with a surf shop, a beer garden, a wonderful cafe and food truck, as well as a tropical fruit garden. So it started as my history as a professional athlete, and over our time in hospitality and being in the Florida Keys, it kind of evolved into something much larger than that. So
what do you love most about it?
Every day is a new adventure. So I still stay true to exactly why I started it. Was I like playing on the water. I like being in the ocean every day and riding these fun toys from one day to the next. But you get to meet new people from all over the world and show them a good time.
Yeah, what do you find the most challenging?
There's, we're living on an island, but we're still connected to the mainland U.S. We're 2 hours south of Miami, so, we have about 800 people that live on, this is Grassy Key and Marathon, and then we get about 4 million travelers a year.
Wow.
So accommodating all of that and operating a 50-person staff between two properties. We have a resort down the road as well, so it's just a lot of moving parts all the time, but again, like I said, it keeps every day fun and fresh, and it's fun.
And you know what I'm finding a lot about meeting people like yourself from the Keys, and the more people that we're talking to, it is all about sustainability. You guys love the environment, you love the ecosystem, and you want to see it develop and stay as safe as possible for years to come.
So I like to consider myself instead of a developer, a rehabilitator. So we took a bunch of kind of old forgotten properties. This was a rock quarry at one time, and now it's the only amusement park in the Keys. And Grassy Flats Resort was 3 little mom and pops that got destroyed by a hurricane, and now operates as a sustainable boutique resort. So you're here because we have this beautiful ocean and this incredible tropical landscape, and we want to make sure that it stays here exactly as it should for generations to come, my kids and travelers for years from now. So sustainability is ingrained in this.
And it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Like, people are loving it. Flips, tricks, everybody's doing something that's kind of getting them out of their element a little bit. They've never rode before.
You'll see the action, and there's something for everybody. So if you're the first-time rider or even a seasoned veteran professional and you're coming down, you want to learn how to get up and ride just on a vacation while you're doing all the things that the Keys have to offer, or you're coming here specifically for the water sports, kiteboarding, foil boarding, wing foiling. You can do that.
I've never even heard of that.
Exactly. That's the latest and greatest. And then this giant inflatable obstacle course behind us. If you got different members of the family that don't want to try these daring things, you can do that as well.
Yeah, those are daring and very difficult, I will have you know.
It's kind of like Ninja Warrior, and you're there for the wipeouts. It's cool.
Totally. All right, thanks so much, Matt, for having us. This has been a super fun experience. You need to check out Keys Cable Park on Marathon. Lots more coming up on Morning Live as our tour of the Florida Keys continues.